Unpopular opinion, but I actually think trends get a really bad rep. As someone who has had to go through the trends, know the trends, and understand what works for me to find my personal style, I think a lot more people need to be open and honest about how trends can actually be beneficial. With that being said, I want to go through the 2025 trends that I've been seeing that I think you guys should know about. Ones that are a little different to what other people have been talking about. And then I want to show you guys how you could potentially use that information to understand how to find your personal style and what will work for you. We are diving into the colors, the silhouettes, what you can expect to see from the prints, the patterns, etc, etc. And like I said, some of these you just need to dibble and dabble in to really understand what your personal style is, what works for you, and which ones you just need to say bye-bye to. Hey my loves, welcome back to my channel. But if you are new here, welcome. Hi, my name is Rachel and it's fashion content here, styling, some lifestyle content, a little bit of everything. So regardless of whether you came here because of the title or the thumbnail, I'm really hoping you stick around. And those of you who've been here already, welcome back my loves. We're getting into it. You can see the title of today's video and I'm excited to have a chat with you guys about this one. So I have my phone in my hand because I've got all my notes, and honestly, I just really wanted to sit and talk about some of the trends that I feel like I haven't seen most people talk about. If you have been on my channel already, you will know some of my recent purchases. I've been alluding to some pieces that I've picked up that I have seen will be trending or have been trending. And I think it's really interesting that for the most part, I've been doing this almost instinctually, if that's the word I'm looking for. And I haven't really been looking at the trends. Now that I've done my research, I've seen what other people are saying, I've seen what the websites, the blogs, the runways are saying. I've created a list that I think are trends that are definitely wearable. But like I said, I just wanted to give my bit of sprinkle as to why I think these trends could be something that you could actually wear. As I mentioned, I've got my phone here, and the first thing I wanted to talk about are color palettes. Now, if you have watched any other videos, you know everyone and anyone is talking about soft pink. And I do think this could be building on, as I think someone mentioned, the Wicked film. Without getting into the storyline and without even talking about pink too much, there has been an introduction on the runways, and we're just seeing that it should be trending, of a lighter, softer pink. Now, I'm all for that, but the color trend that I've personally seen that I think is more interesting is this idea of reintroducing earthy tones. If you're like me and you're a neutral babe, this is our time to shine. But if you're not a neutral girly, there is still leeway to basically play into this trend. We're talking about the earthier tones, the deeper reds, the clay colors, the terracottas, the khakis. It's beautiful. For someone who definitely wears a lot of, beiges, browns, as I'm wearing today, and all of that stuff, this is almost like a step up from being a neutral babe. The second color that I've seen trending is this buttery sort of soft yellow, which I remember saying on my channel was trending maybe 2 years ago now, because I remember wearing it on my birthday and it was trending at that time. So it's really nice to see that this has been introduced again. And I think this is almost like in alignment to the earthy tones, something a bit more subdued, a little more neutral, but still a beautiful color nevertheless. If you have been looking at any of the runways, we have seen the likes of D&G, was it Saint Laurent or Dolce, that had the neutral colors on their palette. And unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably seen the collaboration between Skims and North Face, which has this beautiful sort of like coffee mocha colorway going on. And then if we're thinking of the yellows, the brand specifically that I saw was Alaya, and they did it in the most beautiful way, playing on some of the silhouettes that we're going to get into and talk about. It's a lot softer. It's a lot just more like feminine leaning, really pretty. But obviously there are different ways to wear this depending on what the silhouette is. I would say for me, for sure, these colors are so easy to introduce into your wardrobe. Whether you're used to the darker tones or used to being super colorful, there's a lot to play with. If then we are talking about patterns and motifs. I've said on my channel a few times now, if you've seen any of my recent hauls, I have been loving cowhide. Cow print, cowhide, and I bought a pair of shoes from Zara not too long ago, which absolute chef's kiss. And No surprise, we are still seeing animal print trending. Now we've had the leopard print, which a lot of people, and I love the fact that people have been speaking about it like this, treat leopard print like a neutral. And I think it makes it a lot easier to understand how it can integrate into your wardrobe. Treat it like a neutral, because something else we are seeing is zebra print. Whilst I'm loving the cow print, and I do think it's going to definitely come full force and be at the forefront of a lot of stores and what they're creating, it's really easy to just see it as, if I pair this with jeans, that could be a vibe. Something I would say to that as well, if you're again in that space of trying to work out what could work for you, I know for me personally, having full larger items that are animal print are not necessarily my vibe unless it's maybe a dress or a skirt. A top I don't count as like a large item because it really does depend, but I know going top to toe animal print maybe isn't for me, but this is something you can look at. When you're getting inspiration and you're on socials, you're on Pinterest and all of the above, what are you liking about the outfit? What are you gravitating towards? Another print that I'm seeing are polka dots. Now I'm gonna pause for a second because I feel like as a 90s baby, the reason why I'm loving a lot of the things that are trending both between 2023 to now is because a lot of it speaks to my childhood. It's very, very nostalgic. And polka dots to me is so, there's something so old school about it. One of the main brands that I've seen that had a lot of polka dots on their runway was Carolina Herrera. And Alaya had some as well. And I think Maison Margiela had some last year. So there are quite a few trends that I feel like are carrying over from last year into this year. But polka dots to me just scream sort of like elegance. I've got visions of like Audrey Hepburn, that just sort of vibe, like really, you know, put together, very like modern lady, but classic beauty. That's what comes to my mind. I think polka dots are super, super playful. And whilst a lot of people are speaking about animal print, I think polka dots is one to keep your eye on. So if you have some in the wardrobe, my darling, it's time to pull it out. And similar with the animal prints, you may see these in different colors. So it might not be the traditional sort of black and white or inverse black and white. And if you don't want to go for the larger items, maybe shoes, a bag, you could introduce this into your wardrobe through your accessories and then kind of see how often you gravitate towards them or how they make you feel. If you've got a more refined sort of basic, because we're never basic outfit or wardrobe, sorry, then introducing prints through your accessories can be a really, really easy way to take it from here to here. So that's something you could do. Silhouettes and styles. This one has been kind of fun because I want to start with one that we've already been seeing, which is a lot of shoulder pads and tailored outfits. I will get into the discussion of whether skinny jeans are coming back or not. But if we're thinking about silhouettes, something I've seen a lot of are shoulder pads. Stella McCartney had quite a few of these in their runway for spring summer 25. I can't remember any other brands off the top of my head, but I'll put images where I can. And just thinking about shoulder padding, I think is a really, really great way, depending on your shape and frame, to bring attention more to the top of your body and balance out maybe your wider trousers or just give you that hourglass figure. If you've been on my channel, you know I love my tailored pieces. And for example, a brand like Zara who do their blazers, they typically have shoulder padding. So if you are picking up blazers that maybe you want to amend or alter, this could be a really, really nice way to take an old blazer or something that maybe is a bit more streamlined. Add some shoulder pads. You can literally get them so inexpensive off from Amazon. Just slot them in and it can really just change up the silhouette for you. As I've mentioned, if we're thinking silhouettes, it's all about balancing proportions. And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be hourglass. It could be going oversized or going sort of like top heavy and then really streamlined on the bottom, or inverse. But again, shoulder pads are in. Holding off from the discussion of skinny jeans, asymmetrical designs is something else that we've been seeing a lot of. Alaya again and Stella McCartney actually are two brands that I saw a lot of this on their runway. And we're talking from hemline sort of like skirts and dresses to asymmetric details on top, sort of like off shoulders, cutouts and things like that. Ultimately, I feel like it's just leaning into this playful idea, but it's also giving me layering, which I know layering is like your aesthetic and your vibe, but when you think about an asymmetric cut, it gives leeway to layering because you get to see more of the outfit. It's more of like a window into different layers that you might be wearing. So if you were to consider what we've also been seeing, wearing skirts on top of jeans or trousers, having an asymmetric sort of diagonal hem on the skirt gives more leeway to see the jeans that you may be wearing underneath. I do think it gives a lot of leeway to being really creative with your outfits and just playing around with different layers and different movement in your outfit as well. And then of course, now I am not opposed to skinny jeans. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm not opposed to skinny jeans because if you've been on my channel for any amount of time now, you will know I'm always screaming about silhouettes. Like when you think about building, or at least when I think about building an outfit, I'm immediately thinking, how does everything look? How does it fit together? Where does it nip in? Where does it flare out? What's the movement, etc., etc. Skinny jeans serve a purpose. And this is something else that really boggles my mind when it comes to trends. People are so quick to get rid of what they like or what works for them. And it's kind of like, but if your frame or your lifestyle or your preference is skinny jeans, go with it. Skinny jeans, I think, are really, really good if you want to play around, of course, with a more streamlined, slender bottom half. And for someone like me who kind of plays into, I would guess, like gender fluid sort of androgynous dressing sometimes, I think this is a nice way to kind of like balance shoes that I might have. Like if you have sort of boots and things like that, which I wear a lot of. So many of us haven't worn skinny jeans for a while, including myself. I mean, I'm advocating for them, but I'm definitely a wide leg girl. But I just feel like everything serves its purpose. The same way I have different black blazers because they all serve a different purpose, it's the same way I wouldn't throw out my one really good fitting pair of skinny jeans because I know ultimately they still have a purpose. On the complete opposite end of the spectrum, we are still seeing baggy jeans. Now, if we're talking denim, in my opinion is always going to be trending. So I would really say do with that information what you will. But in a nutshell, I'm telling you, don't get rid of the denim pieces that work for you. If we are thinking wider, baggier trousers, we know the balloon style has been reigning supreme for a while now. And I do think it's a really, really nice way to play on that idea of a more, you know, relaxed, I didn't make too much of an effort, but I still look good sort of aesthetic. Both wide, baggier, oversized fits in general, and the more skinnier fits are both in, which to me just says, do what works for you. Accessories. This might be one of my favorite categories to talk about because I just love accessories. And I think when we talk about accessories, it's really easy to forget the plethora, like the range of items you've got to play with. Whether it's the rings, the jewelry, let's just say altogether, whether it's the scarves, the bags, the shoes, the socks, the tights, the brooches, like there's so much you can play with. But something we've definitely been seeing are the really large oversized bags, which I've always been a big bag girly. I did not do the minimal small bags because baby, if I can only fit my lip gloss in there, we have a problem. I know it's an accessory, but we have a problem. We really are seeing the big bags, which is great to see. So again, if you've got the bags for your day to day, this is something that we are seeing a lot of and is sticking around. And I think there really is something to be said for just practicality. If I think about a lot of the trends for 2025 so far, a lot of it is to do with wearability, like actually being able to wear your clothes, even down to the color palette that's trending. We are still seeing bag charms. There's a really interesting sort of juxtaposition with the big bags and bag charms, and then really, really sleek designs that I think a lot of brands are still coming out with. And I think there's something to be said for brands essentially trying to cater to everyone. This acknowledgement that actually there's a rise of people wanting to be independent again. This idea of people really rebelling against, you know, looking like everyone else or feeling like everyone else. And I think that's usually why trends get a bad rep, because people think it's synonymous with if something's trending, everyone's going to be wearing it. And I'm like, well, when I get onto the tube, for example, and I see 3 other ladies wearing red and leopard print, I'm like, yes. Because the girlies understand. I really don't think it's a bad thing because ultimately people are going to wear it in different ways. We are just all built differently. So even if we are literally wearing the same items, I might accessorize it differently or it's just going to look differently on me. So I don't really have anything against that. But I think brands are basically realizing that, okay, people want variation. Footwear is an interesting one. I would say for this one, holistically, what I'm seeing is more traditional shoes. So still seeing the ballet flats, still seeing the Mary Jane, seeing a lot of loafers and brogues as well, which makes me a happy bunny. But yeah, seeing a lot of sort of like classic shoes. But with that said as well, there is still this idea of comfort. I don't want to mention the thong sandals too much because I know a lot of people have spoken about that. But if you are unaware, thong sandals are definitely in. But something sort of like off the back of that are shorter heels. I was recently watching an interview online with Tracy Ellis Ross. Love her. I've actually realized she's low-key, not even low-key, high-key, one of my pillars if we're talking style icons. And it's just this idea of comfort. Who wants to be wearing the super, super high heels? I know I'm a young babe and a lot of people are just like, yeah, you know, do it while you're young, but it's just not my vibe, okay? Stan a kitten heel, stan comfort. It's just a bit of me. So yeah, we are definitely seeing thong sandals. We are definitely seeing more conventional sort of like, not even conventional, classic shoe silhouettes. But for me, I would say personal opinion, the shape that is really grabbing my attention is anything that's sort of unconventional with regards to the toe area. So a super, super pointed shoe or a really, really square shoe, chef's kiss. Another thing that I've been seeing a lot of on a general note, if we're thinking of what's trending, is this idea of wellness. And it comes in two forms from what I've read. There's definitely this thing of athleisure still being around. So, you know, we're seeing the more streamlined trainers, sort of like sportswear to everyday wear, which we've definitely seen decades ago and we saw not too long ago as well, kind of like bringing sports into the everyday. Grace Wells Bonner, I think, is someone that does this really, really well. We know some of the collaborations that she's done before, and I'll put some on the screen as well. But it's just this idea of bringing sports, again, that idea of like practicality, or not even practicality, performance wear into everyday wear. And the second thing we've also seen, apparently, is the rise of Gen Alpha. Who would have thunk it? Shout out to the millennials, just saying. Gen Alpha are basically making their stamp, or they're putting their stamp on what is trending and what we would expect to see from brands. Gen Alpha, so we're talking 2010 till now. And I think now in 2025, there's a new generation that is taking over. Again, crazy. But Gen Alpha are getting to that point. So we're talking the oldest Gen Alpha is about 15, 16. They are getting to that point where they have money to spend. And wellness and well-being apparently is trending within their space. So you can see a lot of brands, or you can expect to see a lot of brands basically catering to wellness, mental health, sort of like day-to-day products. We're talking toiletries, cleanliness, sustainability. All of these things are still trending and will continue to trend. And then the other two things that sort of, they don't really fit into a category but have been trending is this idea of influencer collaboration. So we're thinking about the Wicked film, we're looking at the collaboration of, you know, different art forms and even brands reaching out to not even just influencers that we know, but essentially making their consumer the influencer. So a lot of content that they're putting on their pages are off the back of what their genuine customer is doing and willing to show, essentially. So that's something that's going to trend a bit more. We are going to see a lot of brands basically have to possibly rethink their business model because things are too expensive and people are no longer willing to spend a pretty penny on high-end luxury when essentially there's a lot of mid-range luxury that still serves the same purpose and still has the same element of longevity as well. So you may see a lot of brands like Coach, for example, take over this space, which I think they have been doing already. And no shade to the Chanels and the LVs and etc., but I think a lot of people are just clocking on to the fact that a lot of these brands aren't necessarily giving them what they want with regards to price, quality, and that coming together. Some honorable mentions. Accessories, I think there's this discussion of maximalism coming back in. Well, I'll say coming back in, not really. Through time, we have seen art, whether it's modernism, postmodernism, a lot of the movements that happen in succession of each other are usually an act of rebellion or growth or change in some regard. And I think from the time of going from, you know, quiet luxury and really, really minimalism and stripped back and all of that stuff, the girlies and the people want people to know that, listen, I'm gonna do what I want to do. So again, I think it's this overarching theme of individualism is really coming to the forefront of people just saying, do you know what? This is what works for me and this is what I'm gonna do. And it really brings me full circle to the first point I mentioned. Trends, they're not a bad thing. It's really just understanding where we are, what brands think are gonna work, what we might be feeling for. Colors really speak to maybe where people are at with regards to, you know, what's happening in the world and just things like that. But all in all, you don't actually need to buy into these things. I, for one, have used trends, as I mentioned, to really understand what my personal style is. I've gone through, you know, the nautical sort of like stripes. They're not really for me. I've low-key tried polka dots actually, but again, I can play with that a little bit more. But I do think there has to be an element of wanting to experiment and have fun. People are not wanting to have fun anymore. No one wants to take a risk. It's annoying. So with that being said, I think knowing these trends hopefully will give you some insight of understanding, again, as I said, what you're gonna see in stores, but hopefully some of them tickle your interest a little bit, or pique your interest, should I say. And if they do, start small. Start with maybe your shoes, a bag, a t-shirt, something that's maybe not super expensive, but not cheap as well, because we want the longevity. But just play around, go into store, try things on, and hopefully you find a trend that works for you. And if you don't, guess what? There's gonna be more, so it's okay. Anyway, my loves, I hope that was helpful, and as I said, a little bit different from what you've been seeing already. I tried to make it a bit more of an overarching sort of discussion, but I just think trends aren't a bad thing, and I'm really excited for a lot of the ones that we are seeing so far actually. Be sure to check out my videos Sunday 7 p.m. You know guys, now I'll be back as always, and if you've made it to the end of the video, leave a little chart emoji. I think there's one of those, you know, to like indicate trends. Yeah. Leave a little chart emoji if you have made it to the end. I will have some more videos like this and some more styling videos with regards to personal style, making the most of your wardrobe, all of that coming up. So you can click here for a video and check the cards above for other videos that I may have put into the video here. Check the description box for any details or links that I may have included. And most importantly, come right back. Sunday 7 p.m. I have a video for you out every single week, so be sure to tune in because there will be extra videos as well. But until the next one, my loves, stay well, stay blessed, good vibes only, and I'll see you soon. Bye.